is what is and how better we can deliver the citizen services, the government to citizen services and business to citizen services is what e-governance is all about. So on to the left hand side, you have the counters, the call centers, the internet, the email, the mail, the kiosk. So a citizen should be able to access a service from any of this 24/7 rather than the 10 to 5 counters which the government opens. So that is the crux of e-governance. It's not about automation of the government. The rest everything is for academic interest, the consultants, the government service providers, etc. Next slide, please. So in e-governance in India, started off with a leading role being played by the Department of IT. And the Department of IT started the National E-Governance Action Plan, or NEGP, under 27 mission mode projects. There were mission mode projects which I mentioned on the left hand side is 27, central, state and integrated. Much like the central, state and the concurrent list which we have. There are different departments and the different departments were given a simple philosophy of starting small and scaling up fast with a larger vision. Policy changes is a major factor for automation in any department. Automation comes with business process re-engineering. In this case, we call it government process re-engineering. The citizen service centers or the telecenters are the ones which bridge the gap between the people who are information rich, that means the people who are illiterate and have the computer, and the people who do not have the computer, so they can go to a telecenter and do it. Besides that, the Department of IT also facilitated creation of data centers, because data centers, as you know, generally causes a lot of failures, because if it is not maintained in correct atmosphere, it is somehow fail. So state data centers are again sponsored, and state wide area network to connect different offices of the state. Next slide, please. Mission mode projects, as I said before, are central MMPs, state MMPs and integrated MMPs. This is all available in the Department of IT site. So there is no challenges there. I will take least amount of time on this. Next slide, please. Philosophy of mission mode projects is think big, final vision, integrate and automate the whole government system. So we have e-district being inaugurated in Kannur district of Kerala and Palghat district. They are being piloted, through which we get around 40 different certificates through online, which is available on the village offices. And if it is successful, then we scale it up fast. That is how the National E-Governance Action Plan policies envisage. Next. Quickly we will flash the different mission mode projects in the state. Banking, central finance, okay, as far as state is concerned, agriculture, commercial taxes, e-district, etc. And these are the concurrent list, integrated MMPs, which is the citizen service centers. We got 1 lakh citizen service centers all across India, which is at the ratio of 1:6, not good enough. But then they are the ones who bridge the digital divide between the information rich and the information poor. Next slide, please. This is a typical maturity model for any application. But for e-governance specifically, it makes a lot of sense, because you're first asked to simply broadcast. That means have a website, put your information there, and it's available for right to information or whatever it is. And that is where most of government systems are there today. The next level is the interaction. You have an interactive website where you put in a query and some government officer replies you on email. Transaction model, which you call the Indian Railways, got a good transaction model, but it's still not an integrated system. But it's still very, very good. And then the integrated model, let's say a ERP system, where complete information is available, synchronized and interlinked. You put your name and address only one place. The license department is integrated with the birth and death, is integrated with asset management, is integrated to the building permission system. So it's just integrated. If you make a correction one word, it's all across. Some of the very good integrated systems in the public sectors, which you have in ONGC, BPCL, and all private sector in any way utilize a very integrated model. Next. So this is the progress so far. You know very well that the automation of the stock exchange has taken place and it has been hugely successful. Automation of bank, practically everything is online, and you have internet banking and the ATMs available. You have the public sector. I would rather credit this to the legendary Subir Raga, no more, who has spearheaded the automation of the public sector. ONGC stands out as one of the best of the ERP implementations which you call. As far as government is concerned, like I said, there are 27 mission mode projects. It's slowly catching up. There are a lot of challenges. Next. The challenges so far, if you look at, are most important is the connectivity. We do not have the connectivity. We don't have electricity in many of the villages, and we don't have line connectivity. That is the biggest challenge which we face. Most of the villages, 2,500 or more, 250,000 villages plus, let us say 50% of them do not have good connectivity. So unless your data reaches there, how will you do that? Integration is another challenge, like I said before. And digital divide, this is where the CS is coming. So these are the main challenges in e-governance. Next. And this is also the area where we need to work very hard. That is why we want the 3G at the earliest. And the 3G is going to actually leapfrog the technologies. You know today the teledensity of India, or I would not say teledensity exactly, but the mobile numbers today is almost to the tune of around 700 million. And 700 million is a huge number. And this is the only way we can reach. And we have to move from 2G into 3G so that the data flow can take place. So it's the data flow will actually ride on good connectivity. And this is going to make a huge difference to the e-governance implementation. It also facilitates integration by default and it's practically ubiquitous. Next. Also, the second challenge which I mentioned was bridging the digital divide, and that is where the citizen service centers come in. Akshaya, one of the citizen service centers in India, fortunately, Kerala is a state which is blessed with a good network of citizen service centers. Akshaya is there practically in every nook and corner of the state, within 2 kilometers of every citizen today. And so all those citizens who can access the information and services online, well, very good. For all those else, we have the Akshaya centers. A simple example, the automation of the value-added tax system declaration was made completely online in Kerala overnight by the finance minister only because there was Akshaya centers to bridge the digital divide. There was a lot of small-scale industry people who said, no, we don't have computers, we don't have the wherewithal to file the returns, what can we do? So, simple answer, please go to the nearest Akshaya center, they will help you with that. So, we could actually do G2C services completely rolled out in a state with just an order only because there is somebody to bridge the digital divide. Next paragraph. Next. Just something about, about Akshaya. We first started with our e-literacy campaign in Malappuram and bridging the digital divide. And we have almost 100 different services through our single window. So you have to pay your electricity bill, phone bill, also get a village certificate, a birth certificate, a file application, a whole lot of things through a single window for citizens. It's not for 9 to it's also not 10 to 5. It's available on a phone call, and the village level entrepreneur who is working on a PPP model is closely integrated with the village. So he is able to be a friendly face to the government, and practically it's empowering the state through ICT. We're using the ICT the best way possible, making citizens as comfortable as possible. Next slide, please. The third challenge which I mentioned is being overcome by our great UID under the chairmanship of Mr. Nandan Nilekani, one of the landmark projects, and it is going to be a big force multiplier. And this will actually change the very face of e-governance in India. It will make a whole lot of things transparent. And this is how the existing system looks like today. All different islands of information and data. And how will it change? Next slide. It will all get consolidated because the UID would be a common factor. A UID would take your 10 fingerprints and iris and would deduplicate the entire population and practically have one single database. Like Mr. Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, has once said that a single database would do much more functions than different distributed database. So the whole is much bigger than the sum of parts. That's what the UID is going to be. So with this much thing done, that is a UID in place and the 3G in place, we would be at par with the best of the best in the world. But is that okay? Let us look for something better. And that is what I want to discuss in the next 2 slides. Take over it quickly and finish it off. We are thinking about an e-governance cloud, software as a service. And this is something which is mushrooming today, this is a thought which has been mushrooming today. It will ride on 3G, it will ride on UID, but the best of practices are available on software as a service, the cloud platform. So you have, starting with infrastructure as a service right at the bottom, that is simple data centers. Then you have platform as a service where you have a server or an application provided and you put your application there, or software as a service as good as the Salesforce and the NetSuites which are available, or business by design which is of SAP. Let's go to the next slide. But we need to have a good marketing strategy to utilize this. The marketing strategy is simple. How is UID marketed? It's purely optional. But a UID today is as good as your ration card, your Visa card, your credit card, whole lot of things, your license, everything. So that's the way one has to market this. Use open source, obviously, because you're doing it at the central level, so you save a lot of money there. And as you know, software as a service is almost 1/5 of the cost of standard any ERP implementation also. Then create it module by module, that's another way of doing it. And incentivize the use of the cloud. Again, one has to really market this solution properly. Use and pay system, self-sustained over time. That is what I would call it, but this is an absolute dream. Next. This is my very last slide. This will take us to right on top of e-governance in the whole world. An e-governance cloud integrated with UID, ubiquitous and fast using 3G, and bridged by the citizen service centers network is a dream come true. And this is what we should aim at. So in a short spell, with all this gas, I try and give you a nutshell of a brief of the e-governance, where we are and where we should think and how it will benefit the nation. On the left-hand side is the different modes of way of services possible. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.